Good morning for those in the West Coast. Arratzaldeon for those in the Basque Country. Good afternoon. Kaixo, Kirmen. My name is Herman Uscategui. And first of all, I want to thank the organizers for letting me part of this wonderful project. Particularly my special thanks to my dear friend, Iñaki Goyrez-Zelaya, who let me be included in this distinguished panel. The purpose of my presentation today, it is to provide a perspective from the business side on how to put together a diaspora that goes everywhere. I have a presentation and I would like to share my screen with you. My introduction is to provide a business perspective on how we can connect the Basque diasporas all over the world. I would like to start with a very brief personal history and why speakers prior to me have shared their own migrant experiences. I enjoy very much Kirmen's presentation just behind me. And as it happens, I have his book, and this is his book that was given to me by Iñaki's wife, Amaya. And the book is La Hora de Despertarnos Juntos. I have enjoyed the book very much, and it's a very pleasant coincidence that I am following him in the presentation today. So my personal history starts in Euskadi. I was a child when my family decided to immigrate to South America. For political reasons and perhaps also for economical reasons, trying to look a better future for us. My father moved to Argentina. Then we briefly lived in Brazil, and then we moved to Colombia. And I spent in Colombia my formative years, and at a very early age, I decided to immigrate again. So my life has been a migrant life, as Kirmen has alluded to. From Colombia, in my teens, I moved to Japan, where I got educated in engineering. I spent about 16 years of my life in Japan. And then after finishing my graduate school, I was invited to come to the United States with a Japanese company. So I have spent over 20 years living in the Seattle area, which, as you know, is in the Pacific Northwest, close to the border with Canada. So this is my migrant story, and this is where I live with my wife. So I would like to outline the content of my presentation. These are the points that I would like to provide my own perspective. So very briefly, the business development history that I have learned over the years about Euskadi and how to build bridges through business. And I would like to put a special appeal or request that we focus on the US West Coast. And I understand that throughout history, business had been interconnected with a focus, diplomatic and universities, academics, mostly focused in the East Coast of the United States. Obviously, there is nothing wrong with that, but the future, in my view, has been driven recently by the West Coast. So if we are able to connect, if we are able to build bridges, as Iñaki has alluded to, with an special focus on the West Coast, I think we will open new frontier for Euskadi. I also choose this name, Connectaku, an initiative to consider as a suggestion on how we're going to do that. So moving into awareness, I think all of us had the experience of probably talking about Euskadi, talking about our friends, our business acquaintances, And that's what I have done all my life, from working in Europe, in the Middle East, Africa, South America, and particularly my long experience in Asia, in Japan, in China, in the Philippines, in the South Pacific, in Australia. We are very proud to talk about the Basque Country. And people get interested about learning more. And unfortunately, the awareness needs to be enhanced. There are some people who know a lot about the Basque Country, some who know a little bit, but the interest is always there. And focusing is specific on economic development, we all know, and I think Linda Kari Barrechi was behind these projects over the years. The cluster development has been the central pillar for economic development and achievements in the Basque Country. Unfortunately, it's not well known. And I am including here in this slide a few of these clusters that have been extraordinarily successful and could be used as a link to companies, entrepreneurs, with the focus in the Pacific Northwest or the West Coast of the United States. We can go from machine tools. There is a Basque company in the north side of Seattle that manufactures tools for Boeing Airlines. We can extend the presence of some of the Basque companies that are already in the US and other parts of the world. And these companies do an extraordinary job in doing great things from a business perspective. And they do it in the Basque Country to the world. As a matter of fact, some of these companies' revenues have come from the US and international operations higher than from within Europe. So I think we see an opportunity to extend these connections, either electronics, environmental services, energy, and I think the future with the recent announcement of the Basque Hydrogen Corridor. I think this is the future that let us continue to connect to the world. The Basque Hydrogen Corridor, I have been aware throughout my friends in the Basque government, and the transition from Petronor with oil into synthetic combustibles to hydrogen. And I think this is an opportunity that we have here to connect, for example, with Japan, with the manufacturing of hydrogen cells by Toyota, which is perhaps the most extensive technology in the world. We can have an additional connection that comes from the Pacific Northwest and the history connection to Asia. So this is where we are. You can see here the green part are where I live. I live in this corner, which is Seattle. It's only 2 hours from the city of Vancouver in Canada. And it is a very entrepreneurial West Coast of the United States. Just in the area that we live, we have $2 trillion companies that we all know about. Amazon started and is based here. Microsoft started and based here. And a little bit older company, Boeing, my previous employer, Starbucks, and also other companies that started in Silicon Valley in California have well-established branches here, Alphabet, Facebook, and many other companies in technology. We also are renowned for R&D institutions and universities. And Iñaki mentioned to the global campus idea that he has. The University of Washington is one of the most prestigious universities in the country. It has the same size in student population to the University of the Basque Country. They have about 50,000 students. They have 5 campuses throughout the state, and they have a couple of campuses in Europe, physical campus, but international connections, and particularly the link to Asia. Also, we have artificial intelligence, Paul Allen Brain Development Research Institute. We do medical research, world-renowned. And also, as you all know, perhaps the most influential philanthropic organization in the world today, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, focusing global health, environment, green energy, and many things that we could be part of. We could work in collaboration with them to expand the diaspora that continues to go all over the world. And I would like to suggest that we use this platform to create a proximity to Asia, because Asia is the fastest region in the world. And I think we could create the entire link that brings the Basque culture, the Basque technology, the Basque business to Asia, and to connect with these innovative developments that we are well equipped to develop further with links and bridges all over the world. So this is a company that I have been associated with, and I've been talking to my friends in the Basque government for a couple of years. This is a company that is started in Seattle, and it's an electric hybrid airplane. And we are in early stages, and we have talked to some Basque companies that I have included here as a key partners. For example, Aernova. We haven't spoken with Ingeteam. We have visited Tecnalia. We have talked to Iberdrola. So I think one example like this could be an opportunity that connects the Basque Country to the entire world with a completely and revolutionary new technology. So that's what I put this example, the Zunum Aero, a revolution in aeronautics building Euskadi to the world, because this is the idea that we have been discussed. This is one of many examples that we could use as a platform to connect Euskadi technology, knowledge, talent to the world. Moving into the next, this is another company that I am affiliated with. This goes into artificial intelligence, machine learning, and what we do, we analyze visual data that comes from different platforms, visual database in Facebook, in Instagram, in Pinterest, in Twitter, and we create clusters that identify patterns that could be used to create content that appeals to customers. So this is another thought, and we are ready to connect to Basque institutions, universities, research, connecting these latest technologies in artificial intelligence, machine learning, energy, aeronautics, cars, to what we have in the Basque Country. So with that, I would like to suggest an initiative to consider. I choose this name as a way to connect. I was planning to use, this is a jovial note, I was planning to use the Basque word for bridge, but then I discovered that this particular word, which is has a different connotation in other languages in the Middle East, so I decided to change it into this. And so going into the purpose of Connectacu is to raise awareness about the technology and the development in Euskadi. I think this is something we could do a better job to tell the world what we have and the talent and technologies that continue to be developed in Euskadi. I would like to suggest also that we put a special focus on the American West Coast, as this is the center where entrepreneurship happens. And I think it could be a particular connection between the entrepreneurial spirit of Euskadi with the entrepreneurial spirit of the West Coast of the United States. And also using these connections and the proximity to Asia as a springboard for Euskadi to Asia. Asia or the Seattle area is the portal to the Pacific. So we could extend this connection into a very important, fastest growing region in the world. So how are we going to do that? So we could establish links to academic institutions and R&D centers through either aeronautics, energy, environmental research, artificial intelligence. We could also proactively reach to new technologies and companies that have very limited knowledge about the cluster initiatives that had been instrumental in the development and economic development in the Basque Country. And we create, obviously, these are ideas, but I'm paraphrasing Leonardo da Vinci, and a good idea is a good idea without execution is an illusion. So it's not only suggesting the idea, but we need to put somebody in charge, covering a discussion on whether or not this makes sense. I am not very familiar or educated with entities within the Basque government, but one that comes to mind is SPRI, and that could be having them the leadership to create a platform and a strategy with a purpose and timeline milestones in order to achieve this. This will create a national evolution and development toward the Asia Pacific region. So these are some of the references that I use for my presentation. Probably the most important was the work of Professor Porter at Harvard Business School, the Basque Country Strategy and Economic Development, when he and his colleagues proposed the cluster approach to develop in Euskadi a few years ago. It was reviewed in 2016, and it's still relevant and prevalent. I also study SPRI, which has the purpose of investing in the Basque Country. And I think this could be mutually and reciprocated with companies in the West Coast. There is an interesting reference that I studied from the Smithsonian, and is related to the recent discoveries of the Basque presence in Newfoundland and in Nova Scotia in Canada. This is for those who would be interested in learning more about Zunum, this is the website, Cortex as well, and opportunities that we can see here with companies like Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, cloud services. I do know that the Basque government has been trying to promote the unused Lemonese nuclear space for these companies to consider data centers in Vizcaya. I think this will be a great opportunity. And what I'm very encouraged to see is the recently announced Basque Hydrogen Corridor, which is a $1.3 billion investment that will have the Basque Country as the center of innovation. So I think we have an opportunity to thrive a global business through Euskadi. Eskerrik asko.